What's going on, lovers of 40k? Welcome back to Theory Hammer, where we're going to be talking about the Cherokee Open in this video, because I went there, and I went with my team, and one of my team members was part of one of the controversies, so we'll talk about that a little bit, and I'll just kind of go over the games that I played, tell you guys how I did. I had a lot of fun, because it's been a while since I've gone to any kind of large event like this, since about 8th edition. Because 9th edition COVID happened until about the end of it, and wasn't interested in how it worked. 10th edition, everyone of my friends, my team, were getting back into it, so I'm like, alright, I guess I'll get back into this. I haven't gone to an event like this in a while, and it was a ton of fun. I played 6 out of the 8 games because we had a very long drive, about a 10-hour drive, I think it was. So we wanted to not get back at 4 a.m. to the states that we are supposed to be living in. So basically we ended up playing 6 games, and that was also because 2 of my team members, they ended up losing one of their games, one on stream. No, he didn't lose his game, he tied his game on stream, so we'll talk about that, like I said. But yeah, I really want to get into this because this was such a fun time, and I want to talk about all the different games that I had, the people that I played against, their lists, and how we did. So if you guys like this video, hammer that like and subscribe button, hit Nurgle's bell, check out the other videos, and check out the other channel, and maybe leave some comments and do all the YouTube stuff so that we can have more viewers see these videos. Now, before we start off with this, I will say that we had a teammate who played on stream on day 2, Corey White. He's one of our team members for our stupid fucking team name. It's Giggle Room Vets. I hate it. We should change it. But yeah, so he plays on stream. And there was a little bit of controversy that happened there. Not with Corey. Corey was fine. So Corey ended up having about 2 minutes left on his clock when it came to his turn 5. But apparently there's a rule for FLG events where if neither player has 5 or more minutes on their clock, you cannot start another battle round, which is fucking bullshit. Why is that a rule? It's a dumb rule, and you should get rid of it, because your time, that just means you have 5 minutes less on your clock at the end of the day. So your opponent can use all their time, and you can't use all your time. So that's a dumb fucking rule, and they should get rid of it, and I don't like it. But that is the ruling, and basically what happened is that on Corey's turn 5, they were tied, and so he was unable to win the game. Yeah, Mortem definitely covered this. But it's on Wargames Live, the game itself, so check it out if you want. I probably didn't link it in the description. I'll try to remember to do that. But yeah, so Corey, he got screwed on that game for sure, because literally if Corey was like, it's my turn 5, I'm done my turn 5, he would have just won the game. Literally. On the spot. Well, actually, you don't have more than 5 minutes left on your clock, so we can't do that. It's like, bro. Anyway, that's what happened with Corey at the GT. So, kind of ridiculous. I literally walked over to the table like as it was taking place, and he kind of filled us in as to what was going on. I was like, damn, dude, that fucking sucks some major dick. But, yeah. So, anyway, let's move on to the actual games that I played, because I had a great time at this event, and I'm excited to tell you guys about them. So, long drive to get there. It took us, I think, 10 hours driving like maniacs. I wasn't the one driving because I would have shit my pants. So, yeah, we got there a little quicker than we probably should have, but we got there, and it took about 10 hours. We get to this hotel, it's late at night, we go to sleep, and then we wake up the next day, and we just start playing games. So I bring my Votann army, and I was trying to go best in Votann, and I knew it probably wasn't a realistic expectation to have, just because I haven't played at these kinds of events in such a long time. But it was fun, and we got it done for some of our games. So our first game, we actually ended up playing against Justin from Warhammer Man Studios. So shout out to Justin. I doubt you're watching this, but I'll try to put a link to his channel down below. Really cool guy, playing Deathwatch, and basically his army was, what was it? So it was like 2 units of the indomitor kill teams, which of course you take because they're outrageous, and there's a video on those which I might have linked maybe down there. I'm not really sure because I'm I just forget when I'm editing these things to put it in when I actually upload the videos. Anyway, he had 2 units of those things. He had a unit of your Death Watch veterans with a Watchmaster, of course, trying to get in there, swinging some big thunder hammers on people. He had some infiltrators. I think he had just 5 of them, though. He had 2 units of Terminators, and I think he had, a unit of Inceptors as well. A couple of captains, or maybe just 1, and then the Watchmaster, maybe 2. I don't really remember. And there might have been another unit or 2 sprinkled in there. I don't have the lists up at the moment. I'm kind of just doing this off the cuff. Basically, it was a really, really strong Death Watch army. So we set up the table with the terrain layout, and we then start the game. So we start deploying, we roll off, and he wins the roll off to go first. He goes and does nothing on his first turn except for moving a couple of things up just a little tiny bit, which is exactly what I would have expected him to do. So he kind of just staged in the midboard, towards his expansion area, I guess, as they call it. So he moved to his expansion area and just sat there, which is exactly what he should have done. My first turn, I used my unit of Jaegers, and they kind of just chill in the midboard and try to bubble some stuff out, some Terminator deep strikes and that sort of thing, because he is going first, so he does get to deep strike on his turn 2 here. But yeah, we move our stuff up. We got some Sagittars. They're moving up the table towards the home field objective as well. The other ones are kind of moving into the middle to try to hide so that I can bubble things out and be hidden at the same time. Bikes are hiding because they don't really want to get shot at. I don't remember what my secondaries were, but they weren't useful this turn. And so bikes just kind of hid behind the terrain pieces and kind of just hung out. Wasn't sure exactly where he was going to deploy or who was going first or whatever. So Terminators were kind of tucked into the corner at the side of my piece of terrain. And so we kind of just moved up a little bit, staged ourselves, waited for this deep strike to come down on us, and that's just basically what our turn 1 was. So nothing really too exciting there. So then Justin takes his second turn, and he is able to move up his squad of Deathwatch veterans really far, basically gets to the side of my building near my objective where the Jaegers are, and obviously he's planning on charging them. So they're there. Oh, and at the end of my turn, both of these units of Deathwatch veterans got picked up and put into strategic reserve with a stratagem with site-to-site teleportation. So they're gone and going to be coming down wherever they need to be. And where they needed to be was basically right near my objective. And not my home field, but the one at the top of the objective board of the deployment zone and such, that one. So Terminators come down, kind of in the same spot near my objective there. Another squad of Terminators comes down on the other side of the table, kind of central of the table, but more towards the objectives. They basically deep strike onto their objective near the little piece of terrain that's attached to the edge of the table, so that they're kind of hiding from that direction. The Storm Speeder comes down next to them onto the objective, and his unit of what are they called? Talon Strike kill team guys. They come down into his ruin, near his expansion objective, and so they're able to see through that and shoot the Jaegers or any other things that are there. Oh, you know what else he had? That's what it was. He had Reavers. He had 5 Reavers with a guy in it, with a Phobos Lieutenant, which I'm actually going to be making a video on. Not from this detachment, but they are ridiculous in Black Templar, so we'll go over them in their own video. But he had 5 of them. So 5 of those guys also come down, and they come down basically on the middle of the table, because they're able to move after they come down, after they shoot. I think it's after they shoot, they can just move. And so if they're deep striking, they can also charge. There's no restriction on that. So that's another reason they're really good. So they come down in the middle of the table there. So now I've got all this shit that's just in my face, and he's got, 12 missile launchers that are able to shoot my tanks. He pops lethal hits. He brings down, his squad of indomitors kind of near my objective, and so they're gonna destroy stuff there. So that's not gonna be fun for me. Then we just got other stuff going on, we got Terminators on the other side on his objective. He's got fucking vehicle on his objective. He's got all kinds of stuff going on. Plus, he can just pick stuff up and put it down, and it's all this nonsense. So, long story short, he's able to pop this Sagittar, kind of like up at the top of near my objective, and the guys inside have to pile out, like, you know, they get out and disembark, and so they're kind of just hanging out in the backfield next to the other Sagittars that are there, kind of trying to tuck themselves into the terrain. So between the two missile launchers on the, or I guess 3 missile launchers on the Terminator squad, and so between them and the Indomitor team that came down kind of like at the top here, he's able to charge in and murder this entire squad of Jaegers. Now during his second turn here, I actually do rapid ingress kind of at the bottom, like near my deployment zone. I rapid ingress with a 5-man Terminator squad. But I actually forgot some stuff in this game because I was sleep deprived and haven't like been under like the pressure of having to finish a game in exactly 3 hours or less in a long time, which I try to do either way just because of these situations, but it just caused me to be like, oh, I gotta do this thing. All right, here, this is the thing that's happening. Like, oh, you're using Armor of Contempt. Okay, no problem. Like, but I forgot something important with that. Yeah, we come down to the Terminators, and he just starts his shooting phase, and he just destroys everything that he can see, basically. The guys get out, he charges in, destroys the unit of Jaegers, and I want to say he was able to get attacks in on a squad that disembarked as well. Like, he was able to pile into them. Maybe he wasn't. Don't really remember, doesn't really matter. But I still had a bunch of the Berserkers left, and I still had the 2 Sagittars left, and then I had a 10-man brick that I still had to deep strike down. And so my turn comes, and I deep strike that 10-man brick down kind of near his Terminators up at the top. Bikes, you know, they're doing their thing. They might have jumped off. I don't remember. I think they probably did to do some secondary actions in my second turn because I didn't get shit on my first turn. But I do jump them off, and so they come back down somewhere else. I just forget what they do, but I jump them off like every turn no matter what. And everything else kind of just tries to get in position to deal with these Terminators, this Indomitor unit, this Talon Strike kill team, and this squad of Deathwatch guys. Because Votan can lift real heavy objects like that, just push them out of the way sometimes. But I just wasn't able to do it. And so what I do here is I charge 2 of my units of Berserkers into his squad of Deathwatch veterans. But before I do that, obviously, I bring down my 10-man Terminator squad up at the top corner near my deployment zone, and right near his Terminators, in range of his Indomitors, just to be able to just do a ton of damage to them. But yeah, so I mark the Deathwatch like veteran guys. I mark the Indomitor teams and the God, what the fuck is it called? The one with jump packs. I can't even remember their names as I'm saying them. Storm Talon thing. The Talon Strike. The Talon Strike kill team. So, you know, I mark a bunch of units in the beginning, but I want this Deathwatch squad because I know that they want to come in and kill me as quickly as possible. So they're in my face now, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to shovel this out of the way, and I'm going to just get some extra CP. It's going to be great. In the meantime, 10 Terminators are coming down at the top. There's 10 Terminators at the bottom. I'm going to blow away your Indomitor squad. I'm going to charge your Terminator squads, and we're going to just wipe this all out, and that's how that's going to work. So you will have basically, like, nothing left. Was the plan. That plan did not occur. Let's just put it that way. That plan did not materialize whatsoever. So, Terminators, they come down, they shoot at this Indomitor kill team. They kill like 3 guys. It was embarrassing, bro. It was fucking embarrassing, bro. And that's with using sustained 2 on a unit that also has lethal hits. Like, the amount of didn't do damage was amazing. So, yeah. I end up shooting more stuff at that to end up killing, I think, down to about 5 of them. I think I killed about half the unit after a couple things shot at them. So, that's not looking great for a shooting phase so far. Down near my deployment zone where I have my building, like in my deployment zone, those Terminators move up to try to get closer to these Terminators that deep struck on his expansion objective and the little vehicle thing. So those Terminators move up. The ones that rapid ingress also move up. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Both these units are going to shoot at this squad of, what are they? The Talon Strike guys. And they do that. And they do as much damage as they should have, but they get him down to 2 guys, one of which I think was wounded. So they're kind of just hanging out in his terrain. Can't see those 2 dudes anymore. We have a couple Sagittars shooting. I don't think it was very consequential. In the middle, I'm planning to charge with the 2 units of Berserkers. I have 1 more in a transport there, but I have 2 units of Berserkers ready to charge into this squad because I know he's gonna try to break in because he's got a bunch of free CP and shit that he can use. So I'm trying to prepare myself for this. So I'm like, all right, 2 units of Berserkers, we're going in here. That's what's gonna happen. And my Terminator squad, I'm like, they're gonna make their charge, I believe. So they do make their charge. They did believe. They make a 9-inch charge on the enemy Terminators. And I'm like, this is gonna be great. We're gonna wipe them out, and life is gonna be just peachy. Both units of Berserkers, boom, they make it into combat. Oh, those Reavers, by the way, those Reavers died to shooting, and they just didn't exist anymore because we didn't like them. Down near his home objective, I charge in with my 2 5-man squads of Terminators on his 5-man squad of Terminators. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, the only place that, it matters where I start here because I know you're going to break in. I don't want you to break in on my little Terminator boys here with your lethal hits and your cool stuff like that. We don't want that. So I'm pretty sure I start with like a 5-man unit of Terminators because I'm not worried about a 5-man unit of Terminators swinging in on his, on my big unit of Terminators. I have armor contempt access, and I figured I could do enough damage to these Terminators to have it be not worth breaking in with. I knew that his Death Watch squad was going to be that target otherwise, and so that's why I put the 2 units of Berserkers into him in the first place. So I swing, and I bounce the fuck off of these Terminators, dude. I don't even know if I think I did some impact mortal wounds, but between all of my attacks, I did 0 damage. It was pretty bad. He then breaks in, and he kills, I think, all of my Berserkers. In fact, he must have. Yeah, he killed both units of Berserkers with this Death Watch unit, which had taken some shooting as well. And it had, I think, 4 guys left. So it just had, like, Thunderhammer dudes, basically. Yeah. So I attacked back with almost 0 of my Berserkers. He kills 10 of them. I should attack with 5 because they swing back on a 4-up. And I attack with, like, fucking 2 of them. And I get some hits. I get like a couple wounds, 3 wounds probably, and he passes like 2 of them. So, or even if he gets 1 of them, like I only killed 2 of these fucking things instead of the unit that I was expecting to kill. So that's not great, with 2 of these fuckers being alive and all of my Berserkers being dead after they already killed like a bunch of other shit. Like this unit has just gotten way too much value at this point. And so that occurs. And I'm like, all right, well, I've got this 10-man Terminator squad to swing with. And he's like, all right, this is where I fucked up. He's like, all right, I'm going to use Armor of Contempt. And I'm like, that's great, do it. I love you, you're the best. So I'm just going to swing now, and you can just take some saves. After all is said and done, I killed like 2 fucking Terminators, dude. Because of his Armor of Contempt. Except my unit ignores all modifiers to all of their characteristics. So they would have ignored that, and I would have killed like 4 Terminators after the rolling had happened, even though I should have killed the entire unit easily, probably. I didn't, and that was a problem. And now another part of that problem was that the Terminator unit was only +1 to hit. I was not +1 to wound that Terminator unit. I just didn't have the ability to be +1 to wound. So that's part of the reason. So I didn't have as many wounds on him as I would like to have had. And he also was getting a 3-up save instead of a 4-up save. And I didn't have enough attacks because I'm not sitting there trying to like do the math. I'm just like, all right, 10 Terminators against your 5. My Terminators are good. They're usually killing everything. I'm going to kill your Terminators. It's going to be easy. Here we go. And that's not how that went down, bro. I killed like 2 of them. So he swings back with his Terminators, kills like 3 of my Terminators, or maybe 2, something like that. He kills a couple of my Terminators. And at this point, I have not fully killed his Talon Strike team. I have not fully killed his Indomitor team. I have not fully killed either of the Terminator squads, and I'm just sitting there with my dick in the wind, like, oh, I guess you just win the game now. And so, that's basically what happened. I mean, we did last the entire time, so, you know, we used all of our time as efficiently as we could there. But he ended up winning 87 to my 75. Because after that, you know, the turns were kind of just like, whatever. Like, so his third turn, and he wipes my, he wipes my Terminator squad, the one up the top. And he's also able to do some damage to some other stuff. And then the Terminator squad's at the bottom. Although I do eventually get through his Terminators. And I am able to get through a couple of his other, like, little things that are on the table. Like the couple of Inceptors. And things like that. He still had both of his Indomitor teams, like the smaller unit and the bigger unit. And so, you know, it's turn 3, he kills a bunch of stuff. My turn 3, I kill his Terminator squad at the bottom. And then I try to swing back, can't really do enough damage there either. And then, you know, turn 4 doesn't really go much better. He ends up wiping the rest of the units of Terminators in that turn. You know, at that point, I have like a Sagittar left and some random troops that are kind of just hiding behind the terrain features. Like I have my 2 5-man Hearthguard units. I do have my 2 bikes at this point as well. And I think my 3rd unit of Berserkers kind of did nothing. I don't really remember what they ended up doing. But they, at this point, were dead as well. So I had like, you know, maybe a Sagittar, bikes, and some guys just kind of hiding behind cover. We're kind of just doing our secondaries if we can. So that was the game. That was an 87 for Justin to a 75 for me. Now for game 2, and I guess I'll just, again, shout out Justin, Warhammer Man Studios, super cool guy, super fun game, lots of laughs, good chats and good everything. It was good, 10 out of 10 for sure. I mean that. It was awesome. So a really cool game against Justin. Now for game 2, I played against Space Wolves. I'm not sure of the guy's name. We'll just call him Frank. Frank here played Space Wolves, and I think he was also like kind of new to events in the edition, just kind of like me. But nothing really spectacular happened in this game, to be entirely honest. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention the mission of each game. And the first mission that we played was Mission C, so Linchpin, Fog of War, and then Tipping Point. Mission number 2 was Take and Hold, Raise Banners, and also Tipping Point. They're all Tipping Point on the first day, this weird-looking deployment zone thing. It's fine. I don't hate it, I think. So we're playing against Space Wolves, and this guy has like 3 units of Thunder Wolves. He's got 2 Vindicators, and like a bunch of scout squads, and I think he had Logan Grimnar as well. He definitely had Logan Grimnar. But that was it. That was his list. And basically, he just kind of deployed behind the terrain pieces on his side of the table. Vindicators, you know, one kind of in the center, and then the other one kind of off to the side, so that they can both kind of move up into the center or into the firing lanes and just try to get some shots on range, you know? So, you know, I do my normal scouting. I'm kind of just like, here we go, scout move time. I move on up, and then I think I went first because I had my Jaegers. I definitely went first. I had my Jaegers where, like, they normally would infiltrate to. So they're kind of just hanging out in my building in the midfield, and they just advance. They're just like, hey, I'm going to make a big wall, and that wall is a wall you cannot move through. So, here we go. And that's exactly what I did, and I just made a big fucking wall. Just put the wall in his way. And I was just like flying towards him, like with my arms spread out, like, just like, here we go. So I made a big wall in the way, and I scouted up all my Sagittars, kind of just hung out. The Terminator squad in the bottom area, they kind of hung out in the same spot as well. And they just didn't move. Bikes, not really doing too much probably, or they're doing secondary actions, but they weren't really participating. And I passed my turn. He attempts to move up like 3 inches, and he moves up about 3 inches. Strangely enough, though, he does move a Vindicator up into line of sight, or into the firing lane. I shouldn't say line of sight, because it wasn't in line of sight yet. But he moves it into the firing lane, and kind of moves the other one down, like kind of towards his ruin. That's in the midboard there. Wolves on the bottom, you know, they move up towards the objective. They just advance. He's like, oh, they can advance and charge. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. I didn't know that. But moves them up. You know, they're just kind of hanging out. Moves out as other units get stuck 3 inches away from my guys that are just in the middle of the board. And then I rapid ingress a 5-man unit of Terminators down near my other 5-man unit of Terminators. Both of these units are out of line of sight of the Vindicators. All of my Sagittars are out of line of sight of them. But basically, the only thing in line of sight is this fucking Hearthguard unit, this Jaeger unit that's just in his fucking way. So he removes this obstacle from his way through shooting it. Maybe he charged it. I would argue he probably should have charged it just to get the extra movement. But he didn't do that, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he blew it away with a Vindicator. And I do believe it happened to be his Vindicator that was not marked, because I marked his Vindicator that started in his terrain piece, like in his L, and then all 3 units of Thunderwolves, because I'm just like, I'm just gonna fuck these off the table with all my shooting. That was basically my goal here. Oh, you know what? I did not rapid ingress a 5-man Terminator squad. I rapid ingressed a 10-man Terminator squad, not the 5-man. The 5-man came down the turn after. That's rapid ingress. But yeah, anyway. So he moves up, kills my unit of Jaegers. My turn. Some secondaries happen, you know, bikes were jumped off, probably, to do those kinds of things. I move up some Sagittars to the edge of my objectives, kind of towards the back, so that I can just draw a line of sight on these Vindicators, but not really be too close to anything. I pop out my guys into the terrain, and then the other Sagittars that are there, they kind of just hang out. They're just like, we're good, kind of just where we are. But we're going to pop out 1 unit of Berserkers, and we're going to charge this here Vindicator and make it die, because it has 2 Judgment tokens on it. I'm going to be AP4, +1 to hit and wound, 3 damage apiece, with 3 attacks each. Yeah, this is going away. And so I'm like, I'm going to throw a going away party for you. Here's a casino cannon, and I shoot a casino cannon at this thing and do 10 damage to it. So 1 Sagittar almost one-shots this fucking Vindicator, and I'm like, oh, baby, this is... Well, I'm still going to go in with my guys, and I'm still going to crush this thing. There's no reason not to at this point, just because of the way that I was positioned. Now, the Terminators at the bottom. There was some kind of, like, thing that happened. What was it? So he reactive moves. That's what it was. So basically, the 10-man Terminator squad, they just dump into this unit with their shooting. They're just like, this unit, delete it. And so he's like, I'm going to be -1 hit and wound. I'm like, I ignore everything. I forgot it originally. Like, I rolled the dice, and then I was like, wait, no. I fucked this up last game. Like, I ignore all modifiers. So, I re-rolled it, and basically wiped the unit. He had, like, his 2 characters left, because every single one of these squads of Thunderwolves, they each had 2 characters attached. Like, I didn't even look into it, but I'm assuming you can attach, like, a Wolf Lord and a Thunder Wolf Man, you know what I mean? So, 2 characters, bunch of Thunderwolves, hoorah. And there's the characters left. So the characters get to do this reactive move, and I'm like, alright, well, I didn't really actually even put it together at that point that, like, both the characters wouldn't be able to reactive move. But he reactive move, I'm pretty sure, after I shot him. Got into combat with the other 5 Terminators, so I'm like, okay, that's annoying. You know, good on you. Good move. This edition's way too unpredictable for me. I can't know everything. Like in older editions. I just can't remember, like, 3,000 different detachment stratagems, bro. Like, fucking, are you kidding me? So, anyway, he reactive moves into me, and I'm like, fuck, I can't shoot this 5-man unit now, but whatever. So, shoot my Sagittars and some other stuff, and, like, at his other wolf unit, I think, and it's basically still alive, kind of, like, over in the back, but I'm like, I'm gonna charge it, I'm gonna fuck it up that way. So, and this other, like, these 2 characters, not worried about them. So I charge into this other unit of wolves that's there, and I do exactly that. Like, I fuck them up good. And so that unit is hurt badly. They're not completely destroyed, but they're hurt badly. I charge into his Vindicator, dead. I use AP4 on it just to be safe. Even though it has 1 wound left, he's a bunch of 4-ups otherwise, because it's a 2-up save. So I'm like, maybe you can have a bunch of 6-ups. And I get rid of that. that's going to also allow me to get extra judgment token or extra command points on my turn for killing that unit, even though I kind of overkilled everything else that I looked at. But either way, his turn comes, he moves out his third unit, and his Vindicator kind of moves like to the side and down. The third unit of wolves come out, they charge into the center, and they kill my my berserkers. They do a really good job of it, actually. So berserkers die, and then it's my turn. Oh no, you know what happened? His Vindicator shot me too. His Vindicator shot my 10-man unit. That's what happened. The Vindicator shoots my 10-man unit. His characters, you know, they fall back out of my 5-man unit for some reason, trying to get to my backfield objective. You know, he has scouts as well, so he's like doing secondary actions and stuff. Like, he's doing okay at this point-ish. So he fell back, tried to get to my objective, couldn't get there, just like, I guess that's where I am now. And I don't know if he had a reason to do that. Probably because he didn't want me to punch him in the face with my Terminators and just kill these two characters. So maybe the best choice was to fall back in that situation, honestly. He moves up Thunderwolves. Thunderwolves, you know, do the thing, and they kill a bunch of stuff. My Terminators move up in the next turn. My Terminators, my 10-man, moves up. It's now like a 7-man because he killed someone with his Vindicator. And my 5-man got to do some work. They want to move one direction, but like charge the other direction. Yeah, this unit of Terminators, they go backward to try to deal with these two characters that are trying to get to my home field. And everything else kind of just moves up. I bring down my third unit of Terminators in his... I rapid ingress them, actually, in his second turn, or in his third turn. So I guess that's actually what happened. I didn't rapid ingress my 10-man Terminators. I deep struck them on my second turn, because it wouldn't have been legal for me to deep strike them earlier than that. And I made the charge because of his reactive move. Like, I charged into one unit and then piled into the other, because they were so close together. But the reactive move made my charge like a 7. Anyway, there's one wolf unit in the center now. I move up my hurt unit of Terminators. 5-man moves backward. The other 5-man rapid ingress in his second turn. They move up. They're all getting ready to just fucking kill everything. And my berserkers all get out. Everything is going in at this point, and we just fucking table him, basically. At that point, he had his scout units left, and like, that was fucking it, dude. Like, there wasn't much to go around at that point. So I feel like his list should have had more stuff in it, though. Like, Logan Grimnar comes down like in my backfield, and I'm like, I don't care at that point. Like, my actual home field objective was surrounded, and he came down like next to both pieces of terrain, like in the back. So he was like 15 inches away from it. Maybe not that far, but he was far away from the objective. He wasn't even trying to be close. So yeah, that was my second game against Space Wolves. I won that game 94-48, I believe. Now my third game was against Tyranids, and it was against Chris Koo, who is... Dude, this game was fucking awesome. He's on Team Korea, like I guess South Korea, I would assume. And dude, fucking best game of Warhammer like ever. It was just fucking great. We were just cracking jokes back and forth. We were just laughing at certain roles. We were just like, every time something happened, we were just like laughing about it, basically. Having a good time playing a good game of Warhammer. And this guy was very good at the game. He was very chill, easy to play with, easy to work with. Just very social, really cool guy. So definitely a shout out to Chris Koo, because he was the man. This was probably one of the most memorable games of 40k that I've ever played, which is what I'm looking for nowadays. So Chris's list is like Swarmlord, Tyrant, Guy, Hive Tyrant, 2 Exocrines, 2 Tyrannofexes, 2 units of Gargoyles, a thing that shoots Spore Mines, the Biovore, and 2 Malceptors, I think they are. Malceptor. It's so hard for me to remember the Tyranid names, like more than any units. But the Malceptor. He had a Nero Tyrant, and then a Nero Lictor, and 2 regular Lictors, and that was like his whole list. But yeah, basically what happened was, you know, I deployed like the same way as always, because it's just what you do. And I went second. So he went first, and his big bug things, Tyrannofexes on the bottom of his map, like kind of near his expansion, move up, and they're able to draw a bead, you know, across the firing lane, just barely onto one of the Sagittars, and just, you know, they one-shot things, so boom, one shot. It's a fucking railgun, basically. So he shoots a railgun at me and blows up a Sagittar. I don't know if it actually blew up, but he pops a Sagittar. Now, for my first turn, I get area denial and extend battle lines. So I'm like, all right, I want to put something, over on my objective, and I also want to put something on the center. So I'm going to disembark, because I did not actually put my infiltrator guys up in the top where I normally put them. I actually put them back because I couldn't, because he got to deploy first as well. So he put a lictor down, like in that spot, so I couldn't be there anyway. So I put them in the back, and I'm like, you guys will do something later in the game, and we'll figure that out. But I get area denial, and I get extend battle line to turn 1. So I'm like, I gotta put something on this objective over here. I gotta put something in the middle of the table, because you don't have anything in the middle right now. He kind of like stayed pretty reserved, at least like over 6 inches away from the center. So I'm like, I gotta get this. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna disembark. This Sagittar is worth 5 points. So I send my Sagittar, one of them, up to the center of the table. And I'm like, all right, guys, we got this. That unit that disembarked, they then charged into this lictor here up at the top near my objective, because I'm getting those 3 CP. So charge into that. I'm ready to get 3 CP. So he takes a second turn, and he moves up, some stuff into his better areas. He moves up some things into some firing lanes, just tries to get a better line of sight on things, and kind of just tucks into his nook on his piece of terrain, with most of his bugs that are kind of just hanging out, over there. This is a terrible description, I'm sure. But he's hanging out in his expansion terrain with a bunch of bugs. He's got his, not a Swarm Lord, but I think a regular Hive Tyrant in there. And he kind of moves up into the middle with the actual Swarm Lord and with a Malceptor, I think they're called. The ones they shoot brain guns, and they also have a 4-up invuln. They're very tough and tanky little bug dudes. So he moves them up onto the center. Wipes out the hammer guys that I have. He's got a Neurolictor down near his other expansion objective as well. He's kind of just, we're kind of dancing around those different objectives at this point. So I have mine, he has his, and that's kind of just how it's going. So his movement phase ends, and I'm like, all right, cool, rapid ingress. I'm going to put these guys over here into my piece of terrain, just 5 little Terminators. So we'll have 5 Terminators at the bottom, 5 Terminators towards the top, and then our 10 Terminators can come down and just fuck shit up, as they do next turn or, whatever. But then I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, all right, none of this really helps me. So he's got these 2 big bugs just kind of hanging out near the center. I'm kind of just trying to hide and not do anything too crazy. And so that's exactly what I do, is I just hide, collect some secondaries, and just hide. So he knows, all right, this has got to be my go turn. Here we go. He pushes up further into the middle. I'm pretty sure he pops a third. No, I don't think he pops the third one this turn, the third Sagittar, but he moves up into the center. He's moving up a bunch of stuff onto his expansion objective. And at this point, he's kind of coming out and trying to get firing lanes on things, because he's got a lot of big units that can do a lot of damage to stuff, and he needs to start getting their damage through. So then we got damage being taken, things are dying. We're all crying, can't deny it. And either way, though, it's just, we're having a lot of fun back and forth and just fucking playing a great game of Warhammer. Either way, though, I rapid ingress 10 man back into this little nook. So I'm just hiding in this nook with my whole fucking army practically. And he kills a couple things here and there. I think maybe he pops a Sagittar, maybe not. But he's in the center of the table now with a couple things. So he knows, he's got to take these points away. Otherwise, things are going to get bad. My turn 3 comes. I move up my 5-man Terminator squad. So this is my turn 3. My 10 Terminators, they move up into the terrain. The 5 Terminators move out of the terrain. We're gonna take down some fucking bugs this turn, bro. That is the goal. We get out with some more Berserkers, and we're gonna charge I think it's a fucking Exocrine. Yeah, Exocrine, I think. We're gonna charge an Exocrine. That's kind of up in the top. We're going to do some damage to this Neurolictor that's towards his expansion objective. So our other 5 Terminators do also come out this turn, I think. And this is just our go turn. We're just we are going to fucking pummel these big monsters. No, we're not, just kidding. But we're going to try. And we are able to kill some of them. So what ends up happening is the Swarm Lord on the middle dies. The Malceptor on the middle dies. The Exocrine towards his top area gets charged by hammers, but it has no judgment tokens on it because it hasn't really had much targets, because I haven't been giving him very many targets, and he hasn't really been giving me any targets, but it has no judgment tokens on it. So I'm just kind of stuck in combat with this thing, trying to smack it with strength 9 hammer. So it's not doing the business like it normally would. But his turn 4 comes, and he does a decent amount of damage to my Terminator squad that's in the middle of the table at this point. It's it's a 5-man. Well, now it's like a 2-man after he shoots at it, because they are pretty tanky to the shooting. But he ends up having to charge in with his with more stuff. So I think he charges in with another Malceptor, and I guess I might have killed a second bug at that point, like a big guy, maybe one of the Exocrines. But he charges in with his another Malceptor. The Malceptor comes in, and the Hive Tyrant just comes in on the Terminators. I'm like, all right. They basically bounce off, which is great for me. But I think I had like 2 Terminators left, and my 10-man Terminator squad is like in my terrain piece, and he's in the middle, I'm in the middle, so I move up my 5 inches, and I'm like 2.5 inches away from the Malceptor, and almost exactly 3 inches away from the fucking Hive Tyrant. So that's, this is a turn where I have not bring it down, I have no prisoners, and we're playing on Purge the Foe. So that's why I'm playing the way that I am. I'm not trying to give him a lot of targets because I don't want him to get kill more. And we're kind of just hanging out for the first several turns because we know that is worth a bunch of points at the end of the game. Well, you calculate it immediately or whatever you do, but that's worth a bunch of points. And so we are both trying to make sure we don't give each other too many targets. And my targets are a lot easier for him to kill than his are for me. So we come in with our Terminators. He shoots a bunch of them down, charges them, but basically bounces off. And I'm like, this is going my go turn, dude. And this is my second go turn, I guess. So, turn 4, I move up. My Terminators move up. All my Terminators move up. Or maybe I move up my second squad that's kind of down near my objective. I might have moved them up this turn, actually. And so I'm like, this is my Terminator's turn to just murder everything. So I shoot stuff, because I fall back, shoot, and charge with the smaller unit that lived, just to be able to just get as much damage on these things as I possibly can. The objective is marked. They've both killed a unit, and so they're both marked. And so I'm hitting them on 2s, wounding them on 2s, and we're bringing them the fuck down, bro. So all of our shooting goes into the big guy, brings him down to only a couple wounds. Or maybe I put some of the shooting into the Hive Tyrant as well. I probably did, because they were both damaged very heavily. The Hive Tyrant maybe had like 3 wounds left, and the other guy had like 3 wounds left or something. So I'm like, I can charge with this other unit, this small one, get impact mortal wounds there, and my big unit of Terminators can just charge in and fuck these guys up. And so we charge in, and we fucking fail the charge, dude. I roll double 1s. And I go to look, and I'm like, wait, am I 3 inches away from this thing? Because I eyeballed it, that one. But I knew I was within 3 inches of the, it's not an Exocrine. Damn it. What is it called? The one that is a 4-up invuln. The Tyrannid bug with a 4-up invuln with a strength 10, damage 3 attack with guns. That one. And I get down with my tape measure, I'm like, alright. It's close, it's really close, but I think I might have it. So I'm like pulling out my fucking template, my 3-inch template, and I go and I measure it. And dude, when I tell you that this template couldn't have been closer, I literally mean it. This template fit perfectly between both my closest model and his fucking Hive Tyrant. There, you couldn't put a fucking piece of paper through how close it was. But it was not within 3 inches. It was like just barely outside of 3 inches. And so they failed the fucking charge because I charged both of them. What I should have done is I should have charged the one that was closest and piled in to the Hive Tyrant. But I didn't do that because I wasn't thinking. So I didn't do that because I'm dumb and I failed the fucking charge. And we laughed about it. I was like, did I just fail this? And I was like, oh my god, no. But that's probably game right there. Like that charge, probably game. Because I just needed to get in here, kill both these things. And then I've got, 10 Terminators in the center. 12 Terminators plus 2 characters in the center of the table on turn 4 at that point. Killed 4 of his big bugs, 8 of his big bugs. He would have had like 3 left, 2 of the big ones, the Tyrannofexes and a single Exocrine at that point. That's all I would have had left. So I'm like, I'm doing pretty good here. Because at that point, you know, Lictors had died. The Neuro Lictor had died. He had Neuro Lictor, 2 regular Lictors, and a Neuro Tyrant. And the Neuro Tyrant this turn also didn't fucking die. And my Terminators failed their charge against it. The 5-man at the bottom failed the charge against the Neuro Lictor. So I have no prisoners. And I'm trying to get kill more because I went second. And I can actually do it this turn. Except, no, I fucking can't. I fail all my charges, and nothing happens. Oh, man. What a fun game, though. Because that was the tone of the game. Like, we were just laughing about the absurdity of things because we were both playing a good strategic game, and then when that sort of shit happened, it's like, well, sometimes dice rolls do lose you games, don't they? So that was pretty funny. And the problem there was that I didn't have a CP reroll at that point with my charge for my 2-inch charge that I rolled. I had used all my CP for other things at that point because this was my go turn, but should have had one for that. But come on, no, I actually didn't need one. Like I said, I could have just charged the one, piled into the other, boom, punches, get fucked. But I didn't do that, so that's what you get for being a scrub, I guess. So we ended up tying on Killmore on turn 5 as well because he couldn't quite kill everything and I couldn't really kill too much stuff either. So we ended up getting a tie on Killmore on turn 5. And basically what I discovered is that my list definitely struggled against a large volume of really high toughness things. So like if I were to go up against Chaos Knights, I would just fucking lose. Like on the spot. Like I would just fucking lose. Like I look at the list, I look at that piece of paper and I'm just like, oh, I lose. Shake hands. Like that's how that would go. But anyway, against the Tyrannid guy, Chris Koo, super cool dude, super fun game. Gonna remember that shit forever. Dude is awesome. So shout out to Chris Koo as well because that game deserves to go down in infamy. I mean, not infamy, I guess, but it was, yeah, you know what I mean. So the score ended 83 to me and 87 to Chris. So super close, but super high loss score there. I guess the one before it, the game that I lost to Justin, that was also a very high score, 75, not bad. Now game 4, playing against Eldar, new Eldar. And this is before I got to really dive into the new Eldar, and I will be having an Eldar Codex review coming out at some point here, so hopefully soon. Also a Guard Codex review I think will be coming out next week, because I finally got the Codex. So we play against the new Eldar, and we're playing against the Eandon. I'm just going to call it the Eandon detachment, so it's the one with all the Wraith stuff. And my opponent goes first, so I deployed basically the same way as always, because that's what you do. And I deployed, he goes first, moves up his Wave Serpents into basically the middle of the table. Like the first one moves up into the middle of the table, the one that has Wraith Blades inside. So I should probably go over his list. Our buddy here playing Eldar had 2 Wave Serpents. One of them had Wraith Blades, the other one had Wraith Guard. The Wraith Guard had Flamers, the Wraith Blades had their 5 attacks at whatever, 7/2/2 or something, I think. He had 3 Wraith Lords, Bright Lance on all of them. He had a Wraith, no, not Wraith Lords. Yeah, Wraith Lords. He had 3 Wraith Lords. He had a Wraith Knight. He had the big one, the Wraith Knight. Had a Wraith Cannon, a Sun Cannon, just sitting in his backfield shooting stuff. 3 units of just regular Guardians. One of them had a Farseer. I think one of them had a Warlock or an Autarch, and the other one had nothing. So just 3 units of dudes, and that was his list. Oh, he also had like 2 Spirit Seers. So yeah, 2 Spirit Seers. And I don't know what this guy was smoking, but cool dude again. I'm not sure. I forget what his name was. I think it was Eric. Pretty sure it was Eric with an A. Pretty sure it was Eric. Eric, cool guy either way. But he made some weird moves that I didn't quite understand. Namely, he gets out with his 5 guys after he moves up his. So he goes first. I've got like just a bunch of stuff with hammers inside and all this. He moves up, gets out of his Wave Serpent with his close combat guys. Because they can't charge. I asked him, I was like, can these guys charge? He's like, no, they can't charge. I'm like, okay. So he moves them up, gets them out. His other Wave Serpent moves up. Wraith Guard get out with the Flamers, so he's flaming it up. Wraith Lords move up, kind of hiding. They were marked. One of the Wave Serpents was marked, and the unit of guys with the Farseer was marked. So, a bunch of marked stuff. But he moves a bunch of it up and gets out, kills my Jaegers with shooting, and I'm like, okay. So, my turn comes, and I'm like, he's gonna Overwatch with his Flamer guys against my Hammer guys, and that's gonna make it a bad time for my Hammer guys. So I move up my Terminators first, and he's like, Overwatch Terminators, and I'm like, okay. But he did something wrong, for sure. Something wrong happened, because he got like basically max shots. He had like 25 hits or something, but he's wounding me on 4s, 4-up saves, 12 of them wound, and I'll make half of them, so that's 3 guys dead. This motherfucker wipes the whole unit of Terminators, like except for the character. So, boom, Judgment Token immediately. And I'm like, alright, well, that's fine. I'll just move up my squad of Hammer guys to charge this unit that now has no Overwatch and a token attached to it, so I'm +1 to hit it. So at least I'm wounding it on 3s, hitting it on 3s. But I can be +1 AP for AP 3 against them, or 5-up save. So I'm like, alright, this should get it done, Math says this gets it done. I forget what my secondaries were. I think they were area denial and then something else, so I want to get up to the middle. And I get out with another squad of Berserkers, and I'm like, alright, well, I'm going to just charge into your close combat guys, and we're going to have a good time there. It's going to be a nice little trade. Area denial will be good, because you'll have nothing there, and I'll have a character there, which will be good for me. And I guess there's actually a vehicle there, a Wave Serpent, which I'll out-OC him, is the point, right? So, we do these things, and we charge with our hammers. We shoot some shots at some stuff. I think I shoot at a Wraith Lord, maybe wound it, maybe not. I don't really. Maybe I shot at his Wraith Guard. I don't think I did. But I know that I charged his Wraith Guard with my hammer guys, and I went +1 AP on them, and they killed 3 of them. I made him take 7 saves. He has 5-up saves, and he made 4 of them. So I kill 3 of his guys, and there's a Spirit Seer nearby. And so the Spirit Seer's like, yo, you need to come back to life. So he brings a guy back to life, like a necromancer. So now there's 3 of these fucking things, and they can fall back and shoot. So I'm like, well, I guess this hammer unit is now dead. Which, they definitely died. I remember what happened. So they died. The squad with the Autarch, so his Eldar squad, moves up into the center. His Wraith Guards move up, or his Wraith Lords, they move up. And that's pretty much what he does. His little Guardian unit, they're kind of just hanging out. They're going to just kind of be up here in their piece of terrain that's kind of in the middle on the top. And he's just going to hang out there and shoot some shots at me. And that's basically what he's going to do. I rapid ingress 5 Terminators into the piece of terrain. And I'm like, alright, this needs to stop. So he does very minimal damage. He kills like practically nothing in my turn. He kills 3 of my Berserkers in the unit that's in the center. Doesn't kill the character, and does kill like the 5-man that I tried to charge with, that basically bounced off of his fucking Wraith Guard. So they're just kind of hanging out. His one tank actually moves up and is trying to like harass my home objective, but it's not quite there yet. So my turn 3 comes. I disembark with another 5-man hammer guy unit. The other 2 that lived, they actually fall back, and they just kind of hide in the terrain. And these 5 Terminators come up to try to deal with some of these Wraith Lords. Oh, his Wraith Knight, by the way, that thing is awful. So he shot at my Sagittar, did literally not kill it. He fucking bounced off my Sagittar with a fucking heavy Wraith Cannon. So that thing sucks now because you can't flip it to 6s and just do a bunch of mortal wounds. Not that that was something you should have been able to do before, but he wasn't dev wounding with it. It's like getting like 1 to 2 shots on me. It's like not strength 20, so it's not wounding me on 2s. It was just not getting it done, dude. And it's AP 4, so like I'm in cover and I get a 6-up save. Yeah, didn't do the business. Anyway, Wraith Cannon does nothing. I move up with 5 Terminators, I move up with some Hammer guys, and he decides he's going to shoot a Sagittar that moves up first. So I move a Sagittar up so that I can get some shots and do some things. And he's like, actually, I'm going to overwatch the Sagittar. And he overwatches the Sagittar. Doesn't kill the Sagittar. Hammer guys are like, okay, we're going to move up now, and we're definitely going to kill this fucking unit. Terminators blast away most of the unit of the Guardians with the Farseer. Sagittars kill a Wraith Lord. Terminators charge into the middle and kill basically the entire unit of Guardians with the Autarch. The Autarch is still alive, but the guys they're gone. We've piled into his Wave Serpent at this point as well, so it's just not doing anything. And then we pass it on over to him. Now in this turn, he does finally destroy my Sagittar with his Wraith Lord. That's kind of just hanging out on the objective, but there's also those 3 troops. There's like 3 guys left from a Hearthguard unit that are just hanging out on that objective as well, and he actually doesn't get through them because he's only got a couple of Guardians left with his Farseer. The Wraith Lords are ready to move up and charge and actually do stuff into the center of the table. Wraith Lords move up to the center, and they try to do what Wraith Lords do, which is shoot and then charge things. They get in on the Terminators. I'll also rapid ingress again with my 10-man brick into the same ruin. So it's just like a repeat cycle of bullshit coming in right here. So Wraith Lords, they charge in. I think they also charged into my Hammer guys. He shot some stuff at them, like some pitter-patter stuff. Didn't kill any models in the unit. Charged into them and into my Terminators, but didn't attack the Hammer guys. Didn't really do anything to the Terminator squad. They lost some models, I believe. They still had like 2 left in my turn. And my 5-man unit of dudes was still alive. So 5-man unit of dudes, big squad of Terminators, small squad of Terminators, and bikes, and maybe a couple Sagittars, I think, at that point. They are ready to actually just clean up the rest of this army here. So 10-man Terminators, they shoot at something, annihilate it, it's gone. Sagittars, they shoot at a Wave Serpent, annihilate it, it's gone. And I think the bikes had to go in it as well. Oh, you know what the 10-man Terminators did? They shot at a Wraith Lord and just killed a Wraith Lord. 10 wounds with a 2-up save, I don't care. 10 wounds with a 2-up save goes away to that 10-man Terminator brick. The 2 Terminators and the character fell back shot and charged. They shot the rest of any Guardians that were there and charged into the Autarch. I think the Autarch just had a couple of wounds at that point, and so the impact mortal wounds, I think, just killed him. Bikes and Sagittars that were left shot into a Wave Serpent that actually did fall back onto my home field. That was just there. 10-man Terminator charges into the other Wraith Lord, punches it into space. He didn't really have much left at that point. He had a Wave Serpent and a Wraith Lord and like a Spirit Seer left. And then a squad of 5 Guardians like on the bottom, actually. So he basically does nothing in his turn. It goes back to me. We destroyed the other Wave Serpent. We charge into the Spirit Seer at one point. I forget which turn it was. It must have been turn 4. We charged into the Spirit Seer, got rid of the Spirit Seer, and we charged him with hammers, so he just exploded. They moved toward the objective. It comes back to me. They move again. They charged the Guardians that were in the bottom corner area, so those guys are gone. Wave Serpent's gone because 10-man Terminator bricks exist, and he basically ends the game with a Wraith Knight. And we win that game with a 100 to 57. Did pretty well in that game there. The mission that we were playing was Mission J. So that's Linchpin, Raise Banners, and then Search and Destroy. Moving on to Game 5, this is Mission I. This is a garbage fucking mission. Burden of Trust, that's the reason why. Prepared Positions and Search and Destroy. So in this mission, I'm actually playing against a Bridgehead Strike Detachment, and I go second again. So he's got his Chimeras positioned, kind of up in the, as close to the fucking middle as you can be while also hiding. He's got some Tauroxes kind of behind them. He's got mortar teams in his backfield, and he's got tank commanders. One of them's hiding behind a piece of ruins at the top of his objective or his deployment zone, and then the other one's kind of just like hiding behind somewhere. So he moves his tank commander up, shoots at a Sagittar, is able to see it, unfortunately, blows it up. The guys get out. His Chimeras, they move up into the center. Tauroxes kind of make a breakaway for his objective. That's his expansion objective, I'll call it. So they're breaking away for his expansion objective. Tank commander blows up one of my Tauroxes. Other tank commanders kind of just hanging out next to that piece of terrain. We're just kind of trying to hide a little bit, and the Chimeras come up. So I move up my hammer guys, my berserks, and he's like, I'm going to overwatch them. And I'm like, you can't see them. So he doesn't overwatch them with his flamer chimeras and decides not to overwatch with the tank commander. Sagittar on the bottom, that thing scouted up and then it moved up because he didn't push like super hard towards that objective. So, you know, I wasn't super scared of it, but I wanted some line of sight on these chimeras that were in the middle. My 5 Terminators that started on the table, you know, they move up into the ruin there, hiding. And we got a couple Sagittars in the back. They end up shooting at Mr. Tank Commander along with a squad of bikes that scouted up along my backfield. So they scout up, they move up, they're within line of sight as well. And I'm hoping, you know, I can just get rid of this Tank Commander. So Sagittar shoots it, does a decent amount of damage. It gets down to like 5 wounds or something like that. The other Sagittar, I don't remember if there was even one shooting at it or if I had line of sight. But I definitely got it down to just a few wounds. The bike squad shoots at it and destroys it. So Tank Commander is now gone. Tank Commander decides, I'm not going to shoot the hammer guys. I'm not going to shoot the Terminators. I'm going to shoot these bikes. So he shoots the bikes, wipes out the bike unit. My Berserks and my Terminators are now free to charge whatever they want. So Berserks charge into a Chimera, Terminators charge into both Chimeras. Both Chimeras are marked. The Tank Commander is also marked. I think both of them were marked actually, because everything else is going to generate its own for the most part. So Chimeras being marked, they just fucking evaporate, dude. Because the Sagittars that could see the Chimeras, there's actually a Sagittar kind of like down, you know, in the firing lane near my home field objective, and there's one that's kind of near his expansion objective. Both have line of sight to the Chimeras there, but they don't do enough damage for it to matter. But the Terminators and the Hammer guys, the Berserkers, they do enough damage for it to matter, and those Chimeras are turned into crumpled cans, like when you're drinking a bunch of beer. They're just crumpled. They're just gone. Guys inside get out, and he loses like 5 of them. Between the 2 Chimeras, maybe even 7. It might have been 3 and 4. He rolled a lot of 1s. So a lot of guys took mortal wounds and died. And were just standing there next to these Einhir Hearthguard, like, what's up? I'm gonna blow you up next turn if you don't do something about it. And so next turn, he decides, I need to do something about it. Drops everything, dude. I mean, his entire fucking army gets out. His Tauroxes move up onto the objective. His guys get out onto the objective. He's gonna shoot everything into this fucking Sagittar that's here. And he's gonna, by the glory of the Emperor, he is gonna kill the Sagittar that's down here with these Berserkers inside. Tank Commander moves up. His Taurox moves up next to his Tank Commander. The other 2 Tauroxes move up to the objective. They all disembark their guys. In my backfield, he brings down a 15-man unit. Over by my expansion in the corner, he brings down an Aquilon's unit, and he actually used the 6-inch deep strike to get into my backfield with that 15-man. I didn't leave him a 9-inch gap, but I left him a 6-inch gap. So he comes down with all of his stuff. Gaunt's Ghosts come down. This is a turn that he needs to... This is his turn of glory. You know what I'm saying? The turn of glory is happening now. And in this turn of glory, he kills the 5 Terminators in the center, not the character. The character lives. He kills a Sagittar, so the one that he really was dedicated to killing, he got rid of it. He killed my 2nd unit of bikes near my home field, and he also killed my the troop squad that I had on the home field, which had stickied it. Now, in this turn, I did rapid ingress my 5-man Terminator squad, my 2nd one, back down towards my objective so that I could deal with that 15-man unit that just came down. Now my Jaegers, they're chilling on my my expansion objective, you know, they're just hanging out there, trying not to die. But now they've got 10 Aquilons and Gaunt's Ghosts staring at them, so they're probably going to die. But they do. They die. So that dies. The 2 small units on my home field die, and 5 Terminators in the center die, along with a Sagittar. Not nearly enough stuff that was important died this turn. Because in my turn, so this would be my turn 2 now, I bring down my 10-man brick of Terminators. And this is where things start going badly for my opponent. He's already lost a Tank Commander. He's got 1 left. I have a character in the center that likes to smash on Tank Commanders. And so we start getting to work. 5 Berserkers that are in the Sagittar, still in my deployment zone, they disembark, they move up, getting ready to charge those Aquilons. 5 Terminators that came in my backfield. Yeah, they're gonna decimate this 15-man unit that came down, trying to be cool, killing stuff off of my sticky home field. The other Sagittars moving onto my home field, guys are getting out as some backup to my Terminator shooting. 5 Hammer Boys down at the bottom. The last thing to shoot was the thing that killed the Sagittar, so they got out right in front of all the Scions that were here. 10 Terminators deep struck, you know, out of line of sight of the tank commander, but kind of in my home field as well. And in this turn, I kill like 50 Scions, dude. So my 5 Terminators in my deployment zone that are shooting backward at the 15-man blob that deep struck, they all die. My 5-man unit of Hearthguard that got out with all the special weapons and everything, they literally didn't even need to shoot. So they were just chilling on my home field at that point with a Sagittar. But yeah, those are gone. Probably didn't need 5 Terminators for that, but we got it done. Up towards my expansion objective, the Berserkers charge into the Aquilons. The Aquilons are donezo. Over on his home field, or on his expansion objective, my 10-man Terminator squad, they decide I'm going to decimate the squad of Scions I got out of this Taurox, and a squad of Scions I got out of the Taurox near your expansion objective, and then we're going to charge into one of the Tauroxes that's there. Berserkers charge into the other unit. They're gone. Big hammers for big boys. Character charges up into the tank commander. 10-man brick charges into the Taurox. Taurox dies. There's 1 Taurox left there, and 1 Taurox left near the tank commander. Tank commander lives. They're finally able to kill my fucking character with like a stratagem where you can bomb yourself, so he ends up killing, because I charged into his tank commander and a unit of catechins that was just hanging out there. So charging to both of them, he uses catechins for me to die. So I died. He actually command point rerolled it, and I told him that he wasn't allowed to do it, and he was like, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway. So he ended up killing my character with that, by cheating, basically. He was just like, oh, you can just reroll a roll, and I was just like, I don't care, just go for it, I don't care. It doesn't matter at this point. So he ended up killing that character there. But I mean, at that point in the game, it was turn 3 for him. That was the end of my turn 2. He had 2 Tauroxes, a tank commander, and some mortar teams. I had 20 Terminators, 2 units of Berserkers, 2 Sagittars, and like a unit of 5 Hearthguard. But because Burden of Trust is garbage, and because I didn't really have any secondary units left, I wasn't actually pulling any good secondaries that I could score. And so the score, I think, was 56 to 53. He got some good secondaries, but not a whole lot on primary. I didn't get a whole lot on either, honestly. I was just able to do a ton of damage in the first couple of turns. But having to guard these objectives to get extra points, your home field also doesn't count for points. It's just a huge pain in the ass, you know? So pretty low scoring game there. I probably could have performed a little better in that game, to be totally honest. I could have bubbled out a little bit better and, you know, had some backfield units. Prevented a couple of more of my units from dying, probably. But sometimes you gotta overcommit just to make sure tank commanders die. You know? Things like that have to happen sometimes. Moving on to Game 6, and we can wrap this video up. I hope you guys are enjoying my recap here, my retelling of my experiences in my games. Because I sure as shit am. And just going over these again, how much fun I had. Game 6, this was against Blood Angels. This was against a guy named Nick. Super cool dude. All of my opponents were pretty cool people. I would definitely play them again. Anyway, Game 6. Also super fun game, very memorable, and extremely fucking close. So, Game 6, Blood Angels. My opponent goes first, again. So he's telling me, like, he's got this Fight's First Captain, and he got these 3 Sanguinary Guard with them. He's got Dante with 3 Sanguinary Guard. He's got, like, 2 Lancers, so Gladiators. He's got the Impulsor with some Intercessors, some Assault Intercessors with a crazy captain with them. Some scouts, some infiltrators, you know, the whole 9 yards. He's got some jump pack intercessors. And a squad of Death Company with Lamarties, because you can't leave home without them, because they're awesome. So, pretty good Blood Angels army, honestly. I'm not sure how I feel about the Lancers, but he had Lancers. So, I marked a Lancer, the one that's like at his top area. Marked that Lancer, and I actually don't remember what else I had marked to be. Yeah, I don't even remember what I marked, but I marked one of the Lancers for sure, and it was definitely one of the ones. It was at least one of them, and if it was only one of them, it was one at the top. So he moves up with his squad of Fights First cool guys, Sanguinary Guard, moves up a Lancer. Don't think he had any shots on anything, and the Jaegers that I kind of infiltrated into the middle. I don't know why I did that. Probably should have just been near my home field, but they kind of served as a way to, like, put a little buffer between me and the Sanguinary Guard charging, so that's kind of what their whole purpose was anyway. Because they were behind my wall, they weren't like in the middle of the table. His scouts started in the middle of the table, and then they just kind of moved backward. But yeah, he brings up his Sanguinary Guard with his Fight's First Captain, charges in, kills the transport, kills the Jaegers. It's my turn. I move some stuff up. I move up a Sagittar for sure to get into line of sight of his Lancer. Might have even done 2. Don't really remember. But I have my 5 Terminators that are hanging out in there. I've got these Hammer guys that just got out. I got bikes in my backfield. I got sticky objectives. I got a Sagittar moving up the side, moving up a flank. Like, I got some cool stuff going on, you know what I'm saying? So I shoot into this unit of Sanguinary Guard with this crazy Fights First Captain, and he just disappears. So he's gone with this whole unit, and I'm just like, cool, it's your turn. Oh, no, it's not your turn, actually. I shoot 1 Sagittar at a Lancer and destroy it. Because sometimes they just do that. Did like 10 damage to it, which it has 10 wounds. And popped the Lancer. It exploded and killed one of the jump pack intercessors that was kind of in that piece of terrain up at the top side of his deployment zone. Literally blew up and killed one of them, and I think it might have even wounded another one. But in his next turn, he decides, okay, this needs to be kind of like a go turn. He moves up, so he gets out with his guys that are in his Impulsor. They're like some just regular intercessor guys. They have this crazy captain that gets like, he's sustained hits 3 with a relic. And then once per game, he can get +3 attacks. So if you can find that with Oath of the Moment, +1 to wound now as well, and then full rerolls. Yeah, he can get like 100 attacks on something. Not really, but he can get like a lot of extra attacks, all with +1 of wound. He can fuck some shit up. So he charges in to my Terminator squad. The intercessors, the jump pack intercessors that got hit by the explosion up at the top, they come in. Lancer on the side kind of just hangs out, doesn't really go, it doesn't commit too much. But Dante and his unit of Sanguinary Guard, they do commit, and they're like, I'm going to take out this Sagittar, baby. The Sagittar that's at the bottom of your flank, I'm taking that out. That's my Sagittar. Oh, he also had a unit of bikes. So I rapid ingress 5 Terminators, of course, onto my expansion objective, just so that I can have some shots on these new units that decided they wanted to charge in and try to kick, the little people while they're short. Right? Is that what people say? Anyway, so we come down and he charges in, Sanguinary Guard charge in to my Sagittar that's in my flank. His crazy captain guy charges into my Terminators. And his jump pack intercessors, they charge into the Hammer guys that had to disembark the turn before. Well, Hammer guys fight on death, so they did that. They killed a couple of I killed 3 of them. There was only 1 of them left. And then we had 5 intercessors with a captain, kind of just hanging out where my Terminators used to be on the objective, because this was hidden supplies. Yeah, it was take and hold hidden supplies, almost positive. Now, something that I did here when my Sagittar was charged by Dante and his unit, I couldn't actually get out within 3 inches because there's one guy that has an enormous ass base and it's just hard to get out the whole unit sometimes if you try to surround it. They can't get out within 3, and so they have to get out within 6. Well, when I get out within 6, I think I took 2 mortal wounds, like after my Feel No Pain was all said and done. So I still had all 5 models, because it's 5 dice, 1, 2s, and 3s, you take a mortal wound. I have a 5 Feel No Pain with 2 and 3 wound models. So what I did though is I put them in the corner of that piece of terrain on my opponent's side of the table, technically. Not in his deployment zone, but on their side of the table. They're just tucked into that nook because they had a 6-inch disembark instead of a 3-inch disembark. So they're hanging out there. Dante and his unit are like in my deployment zone, visible because they were like on the terrain and stuff, and they're gonna get shot at. Then I had a single jump pack intercessor, 5 dudes with a captain just hanging out kind of in my deployment. They're putting a lot of pressure on me, But I move up, but my bikes are also participating in this game. So bikes move up, guys move up, Sagittar still exists, and I just completely wipe out everything that's there. I shot like a single Sagittar at his Sanguinary Guard and killed them. Because they disembarked with a squad of guys too, just so that I can get some some AP1 ignores cover shots on them at +1 to hit and wound. Maybe it was just +1 to hit, but the Sagittar wounds it on 2s. So the Sagittar comes in and just fucking wipes the unit, Dante included. Terminators shoot at stuff, wipe things. Bikes shoot at things, wipe everything. So basically we wipe everything out. that charged into us. And at this point, really all he's got left are his backfield units. So he's got like his infiltrators, his little bike squad, a single lancer, his transport, a squad of jump pack intercessors. So it goes over to his turn 3. So in his turn 3, so one thing I did forget to mention. So I put that unit of berserkers at the bottom ruin. That unit then decided that big guy, he's going to stay where he is, or even move closer to Dante. The other 4 dudes are going to move straight forward toward your stuff on the, like, towards your deployment zone, basically, and the scouts that are behind the wall and things that are just kind of hanging out behind the wall. We're going towards all those things with most of the unit except for the one guy. And I intentionally kept my other members of the unit within 3 inches of that guy so that they could pile into him, be within base of him, and be able to swing. Just in case Dante lived, I had 2 different directions that I could go with that unit, both of which were going to get pretty much all my guys in close combat. So just a little trick there. But Dante died. His whole unit died. Everything died that came over to me just died. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to charge your scouts. I make the charge, but in this turn, in mine, he rapid ingresses his, what the fuck are they called? Death Company. God. Angels of Death, Death Watch, Death Company, so many things. So his Death Company come down. I slow them down with my grenade launcher. I hit them, I wound them, they're slowed down. They're -2 to their advance, -2 to their charge and move. I charge into his scouts with that same unit that just shot. Sanguinor appears. Sanguinor fights first. He kills like 4 of the berserkers. 2 of them swing. We swing it on the scouts. We give them +1 AP because one of them is still alive. And we wipe the scouts out. So I just don't want to deal with any more dead scouts. Now I still have 1 squad of berserkers left in a transport. And so it goes over to his turn. He moves up his Death Company, like right into my central ruin, basically. He's like a few inches away. He's like 3 inches away from a Sagittar. Sanguinor moves up, getting ready to charge some stuff. And then I rapid ingress my 10 Terminators. Now at first, so he got like no shooting at this point. I don't remember if his Lancer tried to contribute at that point. I don't think it did. But at this point, he's got like no shooting. So he charges in with the Sanguinor, makes it. Charges in with the Death Company, rolls a 3. They're -2 to their advances, moves, and charges. And so I'm thinking like, oh my fucking god, you just failed this charge, dude. And he's like, well, okay, command point, obviously, because you command point that. Rolls a 3 again. And I'm like, bro, how did this just happen? Did you just fucking fail this charge? And he's like, I guess I failed this fucking charge. So he's literally just got like a Death Company unit just standing out in the open right next to all of my stuff. And he's about to lose the Sanguinor and that entire unit. And he's going to have like a transport, a jump pack intercessor squad, and some backfield stuff and a tank left, like in a Lancer. So he's not going to have like anything left at this point. And he still has 15 Terminators to deal with, a couple Sagittars, a unit of hammer guys, like the 2 units of bikes are still there. Like, yeah. So it's not looking so great there. And so we pass the turn and it's over to me. And he's like, hey, wait a minute. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, I think I might have made the charge. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, so if I'm -2 to my charge, like, and then we walk over and we were looking at how close they actually were. And he's like, okay, so this unit is actually going to be within an inch because I roll like a 1 after my roll. So like if I move an inch, like I am within an inch of you. And I'm like, okay, we should have like fucking measured this before because we both just got caught up in the moment and the -2 to charge. We're like, oh my God, you fail your charge. And none of it, we didn't really like realize it. He realized it, but I didn't realize it until he had said something. And I'm like, fuck, you're right, actually. They would have made it. And so I'm like, dude, go ahead and charge. Like, you made it, so charge him in. So he charges him in, kills the Sagittar, and it's not important at that point. Because the guys get out, nothing happens to them, and they just get into the other Sagittar in my turn. So he kills the Sagittar. He gets some little bit of win out of that unit, but not very much. Like, he wasn't trading particularly well. He was getting a lot of primary though because he was on more points than me because I am just getting hammered by guys. He's just sending missile after missile after missile at me, and so I have to deal with those missiles. And he's got a good board presence as well, so it's hard for me to like come in and do cool things. Anyway, yeah, all those things died. So the dudes with the Death Company, the Lamartes, they all died in my shooting from my Terminators. Sanguinor dies from shooting from bikes. And I'm thinking, like, I actually fell back, shot, and charged, and I'm, like, thinking I had, like, 4 CP, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fall back, shoot, and charge. I'm gonna throw a grenade over here. I'm gonna charge into this fucking guy and do tank shock, and I need 1 for a rerollable charge. So I'm, like, doing all these things in my head. But I didn't need it. I just blew them off the table and, you know, passed the turn back to my opponent. My opponent takes their turn, and I think this was their last turn at that point, I think. No, it would have been their 4th turn. So he kind of moves back and hides on his 4th turn. And I think his intercessor squad is, he has another jump pack intercessor squad. I think they kind of just hung out, like in his little nook of his piece of terrain that's near, like at the middle of the board for him. I think they were just hanging out an inch away from the wall there. Goes over to me. I am slow, and so I can't really get to much stuff. Try some longer charges. Don't make them even with some rerolls. It rolls on over to my last turn, and I'm like, fuck, dude, this score's got to be close because it's hidden supplies. Like, we're both getting good primary. We're both getting good secondary. I think you're a little higher on primary than I am, but like I go second, so maybe I can bring something back there. And I'm like, what's the score exactly? And so he brings it up, and he's like, because I look at my secondaries, and I'm like, all right, what's the score? And he was like, as it is right now, I'm winning by 1 point. And I had pulled containment and sabotage. And I'm like, all right, I can do containment. I can do containment for 6. Because he like saw my secondary, so he was like, if you get both of these, I win by a point. I'm like, okay. So containment for 6. I'm like, I gotta redraw the other one because I need to try to get one that's worth more points than 3, like 5 points, and hopefully one that isn't terrible. So I redraw a card, and it's fucking no prisoners. And at this point, the only thing that I can destroy is his fucking other Lancer. Because the Lancer had moved out, tried to do some stuff, didn't do anything important, but there was a Lancer. So I'm able to destroy the Lancer, but I can't really move far enough to get to anything else because he had moved backward. He just moved like everything backward on this turn because this is turn 5. He doesn't care about endgame. It's just what he scored at the beginning of his turn and just moved backward to get away from me. So I couldn't get no prisoners on anything else. And so I ended up getting only 2 points instead of the 3 points I would have gotten on sabotage. Only got 2 points there, but so it ended up being a 2-point game, with the final score being a 79 to my opponent and 77 for me. So another really, really good, fun game, some good moments, and just a good game. It was really close, and I just had a fucking blast. All 6 games were great. I had a good time, a really fucking good time, especially in 3 out of my 6 games. I had just like an amazing time. 3 of my opponents were some of the coolest people that I've played 40k with ever. I would absolutely play them again. I'm sure they would say the same thing. And I really enjoyed the event itself. It was in a casino, so we got like some really good food while we were there. Dude, the shower was awesome. I want one of them in my house. And you didn't really have to go anywhere to do anything. Not that you really could, because you're playing Warhammer for like fucking 10 hours straight, plus lunch, and then eating afterwards. You're basically just playing Warhammer 24/7 at that point. But dude, so much fun. Events like that are always a really good time. It was like a 300-person event, so pretty good turnout there. Definitely didn't go best Votan player, and I've actually changed my list quite a bit since going, because I'm like, you know, I need the anti-tank, like, hardcore. So made some tweaks, played some test games with it. So far, so good. Not sure how it's gonna beat Eldar, but I guess everyone kind of has that problem right now, because Eldar are really good. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Hope you guys liked this video. I've never made a video like this before, so hopefully I'll make more of them. And if this was actually kind of a hard video to make, so if you guys enjoyed it, let me know by thunderhammering that like, subscribe, and Nurgle bell icon. God, I kind of fucked that up, didn't I? Hit all the buttons, guys. It actually helps, and it tells people, it tells the algorithm that other people should watch this. And for videos that take a longer time, you know, it's kind of worth my time for more people to watch it. So you should do that. Also, check out the other videos. Check out the other channel, which is the Power Fisters. Leave some comments. I think I covered all the bases. I like bases, and I covered all of them. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Make sure to theory hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.